which is
didn't expect to have this conversation.
It's a weird thing to say you have a favorite water. Not at all.
Not at
all.
You
know what I'm talking about. What's the go-to beverage when the Panther Nation podcast is doing on a 4-hour marathon? What's in the cooler?
Water. Regular water.
You Sonic guy, you an Aquafina guy, I bet you're a Fiji guy.
And maybe it's tap water. They may have good water up there.
I don't even care. Yo, I'm not a water snob. It's just whatever.
Oh God, here we go.
It's just water at the end of the day, man.
I don't think Rob knows how to do anything without it being snobbish. So I mean,
you're telling me that different waters
sounds
don't
like
have
it, right?
Yeah. You're telling me you believe different waters don't have different flavors.
No, they do. They do taste different, but it's not that serious to me.
It has to do with fluoride and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it does not have to do with fluoride. You people in your fluoride BS need to stop. That's not a thing.
In there. It's in there, man.
I'm not saying it's not in there. I'm saying this whole "it's killing people" is bull crap. There's such a low amount in fluoride in any tap water. It's ridiculous. And we're making policy decisions.
I'm glad
about
you're
it.
the fluoride expert. I mean, didn't know.
Yeah, I've read the studies. If you know, we're all listening to Brainworm Boy.
This is my life. I say the wrong thing, it triggers that.
I'll tell you, I'm passionate about life.
And water, apparently.
And water. At 8:40 on Thursdays, we take us a little trip right up the road to Charlotte, North Carolina. We welcome in one half of the Panther Nation podcast. My dog, Rashad Beard, stopping by to talk a little football with us. What's up, big fella? How we doing setting up for Christmas, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Things are well. Man, all is well, no complaints. My tree's been up since October, so I've been in the mood.
October.
Tell
me like Halloween. At the least, tell me like October 31st, not like the 15th.
Yeah. No, right after Halloween.
All right, I can live with like November. I still think it's blatant disrespect to Thanksgiving, Rashad.
All due respect to Thanksgiving, but
what are you supposed to put up for Thanksgiving? Like pumpkin leaves?
Nothing, but when you put up
the
tree, like it's officially Christmas up in this beer. Like we ain't doing like it's like you're just like having Thanksgiving in the Christmas background.
Rob, we all need a little Christmas, just a little Christmas.
I don't disagree. Sure. But can we do it, I don't know, at Christmas? Like when I go into freaking shopping malls in October 1st and there's Christmas stuff up. Can we breathe for a minute, people?
No, we can't. You got to get in the spirit, man.
I'm always in the spirit. Rashad. Rashad Beard drops by to talk some Panther football with us.
That's a problem.
Listen, I'm off next week. I will be. Come at me, bro. Rashad, let's start with the easy one, dude. What the hell, man? What was that?
Yeah, major letdown, man. Major letdown on Sunday. Was not expecting that. We got caught off guard. I think we got out-coached in all phases of the game. We could talk about individual play and how that didn't lend well to a victory, but at the end of the day, it was top down, just a deplorable game. We got out-coached, and it was surprising. I went into this game wanted to see how we would fare as favorites. That's something we haven't been favored in like 3 years. I wanted to see how we would fare, and it was important to see, and it didn't work out too well. Now, hopefully, moving forward, we know how to act once we're favored. But yeah, it wasn't a good look. We got smacked, man.
The silver lining is you're in a position where you feel disappointment after that and not go, oh, it's another Panther Sunday afternoon. Like you're in a position to actually feel disappointed because it felt like things were going in the right direction. The bad news is you're disappointed. You came in as a 2-point favorite. You got smoked by 16 points. You keep saying we got out coached. If I asked you to give me an example or two of what you mean by that, what would you lean on?
Well, I'd start defensively, man. I don't know how CeeDee Lamb ends up one-on-one with Jordan Fuller multiple times on the same drive. Like we did not adjust at all defensively. They just picked us apart. We still cannot stop the run. And I know it's a personnel issue, but not being able to adjust. I mean, you've got like 4 back-to-back rushers with 150 plus or close to 150 yards on us on the ground. So we're just getting out coached. Offensively, I feel like we got away from the run way too soon. Even Micah Parsons will tell you that. Micah Parsons is like, man, if you look at their defense, their run defense is almost as bad as our run defense. And we only ran the ball with Chuba like 10, 15 times or something like that. So it's just no outcoached across the board. We got dictated to. That we allowed the Dallas Cowboys to tell us what to do on offense and defense, and we just did not adjust, in my opinion. And it's just it's special teams, man. It's all across the board. It's not good. Not good football.
No, it was not good football. I do want to start with this, though, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Bryce Young, 19 of 28, 219, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in this one, and there's been a handful of people. I won't mention any specific names that may or may not be participating in this. Okay, you mentioned the specific name that may or may not be participating in this conversation. A lot of, there's regression, step back. And I'm not arguing that Bryce Young played a great game.
By the
but
way,
I am going to say,
quick, this is the first time we've heard about this game this week.
No, we talked about it on Monday in passing.
Oh, no.
Yes, we did. We talked about it. We talked about it because you said Bryce Young played poorly, and that was the regression. My argument, Rashad Beard, was, and again, I'm going to get hammered for this, and I don't care because I believe it. This, to me, felt like everything around him fell apart. What the hell do you expect out of the guy?
There was a bit of that. I think that, again, when you talk about coaching, right? How does Micah Parsons end up one-on-one multiple times with Icky with no chip? There's no chip. There's no help there. So you're just setting him up. I mean, you're really just allowing the Dallas Cowboys to pin their ears back and get after him, and it doesn't help. And mind you, Bryce absolutely played a part. His hand is all the way in this L too, right? He had 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. So he can't dodge any blame in this. He has a part into it. But at the same time, there are some coaching mistakes where he was not put in a position to succeed. Offensive line did not help at all. You've got the weapons not quite there. Coker is our guy. Obviously, 83-yard touchdown. That's great. I tried to tell you guys about him way back in training camp. He appears to be our best wide receiver outside of Adam Thielen, of course. But things are we've got to be better. Everybody's got to be better. I think there's plenty of blame to go around, including Bryce Young in this L.
I think that's fair. I do want to point out, my thought is not, it's everybody else's fault but Bryce Young. My thought is it's everybody's fault. And the more it's everybody's fault, the harder it's going to be for any quarterback to succeed. Nonetheless, a second-year guy who's really only found his stride the last couple of weeks. Talk to me about the run game. 16 rushing efforts in this game for 60 yards. On the flip side, and again, a lot of it has to do with you're not moving the ball. You get less opportunities to get snaps off. Carolina threw 28 times, ran 16 on the flip side. Dallas passed more times with 29, but they also ran the ball 40 times in this game. Look, dude, if you're not running the ball, and certainly if you're not having success running the ball, you're going to give the other team extra possessions, extra plays to take advantage, and Dallas certainly did that. What do you think there was any rationale behind that, or you were down 10-7 at the half. It wasn't like you had a big hole to climb out of, right?
Right. That's exactly right. There is no rationale behind. That's what's so frustrating is that when you see the number 32 ranking behind somebody's run defense, then you're going to run the ball 40 times. You know what the Dallas Cowboys ranking is? 31, and we ran the ball 15 times. So it just doesn't make sense as to why we did not run the football 20, 30 times minimum, right? And so it's frustrating because all we heard was from Canales was, hey, you're gonna be frustrated with how committed to the run we are, and we just haven't seen it, especially when you're supposed to be running the football on a poor run defense. We just didn't do it. We got out coached, and that's why you go back to the conversations about coaching and Canales. Listen, he just didn't have a good coaching game, right? And it happens, right? He's allowed to have a bad game, just like everybody else did, and we were due for one, right? We've been playing pretty well for the most part the past 3, 4, 5, 6 games, whatever. And we were due for a letdown, and it just happened to happen when we were favored. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, everybody's to blame in this L for sure.
Yeah, I think the problem you run into is there is a double-edged sword on this one, Rashad, which is on one hand, the talking heads around the country are going, oh, look at that. Carolina finally gets the spotlight them on a little bit. And they FA'd and then they FO'd against the Dallas Cowboys. On the flip side, I look at it and go, I am always looking, what's the teachable moment? What's the lesson we can take away from this? Well, that's the first time in 2 years that Carolina came in favored in a football contest. Now you know what it's like. Now you know what it's like to have a team across from you that is fighting as the dog. Now you know what it's like to be in that position. And sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth to learn what it feels like to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, I 1000% agree with that. And I think what it really boils down to is this team, I think they started feeling themselves a little bit. Even though we're not getting the W's, I think they started to think that, hey, man, like, look, we're favored. The national media starting to talk about how good Bryce is now, and things are going well with this team. Even though we're losing, the vibes are up, right? There's an energy there because we know we're getting better. And I felt like the team bought into that. And I felt like and that goes back to coaching. I really wanted to see how this team was going to react with all that in mind. And they just came out flat. And so that, like you said, that is a teachable moment that they need to get back. And listen, we can't do that again. We saw what happened last time. We were favored. We got smacked, and we got to learn from it. And so hopefully that's the case. And again, we've got to take these small things, and hopefully next season when we are favored and things are in our favor, we do better and come out way more ready than we did this game.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this weekend's contest. The good news for Carolina, if there is any, is that you're back at the crib this weekend. You get a back-to-back homestand. The next one up against a 500 Arizona Cardinal team. So let's be very clear. They're a mid-team, but they're a mid-team. They got a good running game in James Conner. He's going to cross 1,000 yards on the season this weekend. He only needs like 27 to get there. Kyler Murray has been looking better game by game, week by week. This is a good Arizona team. It's not a great team. It's a good team. Carolina comes into this game as a 4.5-point dog at the house, and I'm going to fall back to Rashad Beard. I think I agree with you. I think the team started reading its own press clippings, started believing its own hype a little bit. You got punched in the face. I'm going to go back to take the expectation of win and loss off the table, and let's set the expectation of, do we fight? Do we execute? Do we stay disciplined? And do we give ourselves a chance to be a better football team? That's what I'm going for in this game. What are you looking for? What do you want?
Yeah, I mean, you got to put up some good film at this point, man. You got a lot of people who their jobs are on the line. If you look at this roster, there's a lot of guys that may or may not be in the league next year. So you've got to put up some good film. And I think everybody they got to go out there and prove it, right? We're not favored to win this game. I think the Cardinals are playing for a potential playoff spot and potentially win a division. So they're gonna be hungry. So we gotta pull up. We got to pull up with our best shot. And I hope that's the case. I think we've got a lot to play for individually, and hopefully Canales got a lot to coach for. We've got to start to put together some sort of a semblance of, hey, we can do this next season, right? And we started doing that. We started doing that up into the Dallas game. We just got to get back on track. It's not about wins or losses, like you said. I think for the team, it's just about, and I know this may or may not be good for the listeners, but we need some moral victories. We need something. If we're not going to get the actual W, we need a moral W. And I know cliche, we don't take moral victories, but as a Panthers fan, I'd take it. I'll take it right now. I need something. Right. And so, again, we were getting those moral victories in the games prior to the Dallas game. Let's get more of that. Let's get back on track. Even though we've been gutted with injuries across the board, there's a lot of things going bad with this team. But we need to get back on track for sure.
All right. Moral victory. This is a conversation Lonzo and I have had a 1,000 times on this radio program. I absolutely do believe moral victories exist. I think when you can take away that we improved here, we got better there, we cleaned this up, whatever, even if you lose the game, if you can show me progress moving forward, that's it. It's hard to benchmark that, though, right? Because they're subjective, what a moral victory is. So if I asked you to be objective about what you're going to say, we walk away from Sunday, even in an L, and go, I saw this. Is it better coaching? Is it more cognizant play calling? Is it more out of Chuba, more out of the offensive line? Like, what 2 or 3 things are the most important for you to see improvement in on Sunday?
Yeah, number one, I want to see Bryce Young, how he bounced back, right? He got benched, bounced back from that very, very well. Had a bad game. How is he going to react? Is he going to go back into the pre-benching mode, or is he going to turn up like he did the past couple of games, right? So I want to see him and how he reacts. That's number one. Number two, I've got to see improvement from Canales from a coaching and situational play calling standpoint. It has not been really good. He improved in the one game in the red zone play calling against Philly, did a great job there. He tends to bounce back a little bit when he has an off game. So I do expect him to have a better play calling situation in this game. Defensively, man, it's tough because we're depleted there. But I would like to see some improvement from the run stopping perspective. Like, we cannot. I would like to see us hold James Conner under 100 yards. That'd be a great start. Just to stop him for under 100 yards, and that would constitute as a moral victory. And I think that's darn near my Super Bowl at this point. If you can hold a rusher under 100 yards, that would be fantastic. I'm going to the chip off of that. So please, let's do that. And those are 3 things that I have for my moral victories going into Sunday.
I was like riding with you real hard until you got to keep a back under 100 is my Super Bowl now. Wow.
I mean, I got to be honest. It's the truth. We haven't been able to do it.
I don't disagree, but like we do at least a little bit chalk that up to the reality of you got a banged up defense. Like next year, I don't think it's as much of a problem, right?
Yeah, but come on, man. You got to at least try. Like it's tough. I mean, you got an opposite. You're sitting opposite of this team, and this running back is licking their chops because they know I'm getting at least $150, and there's nothing they can do about it. Like you got to show some sort of respect. Like we got to man up. So it's
I can
time.
respect it. I can respect that. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. But more importantly, head over to YouTube, go search and subscribe to the Panther Nation podcast. Hit that bell so you know when they're going live, which is like all the damn time. Rashad, my man, as always, brother, appreciate you. We'll be out next week. So have a tremendous, tremendous Christmas. And we'll get back with you the week after that in the new year, pal.
Same to you guys, man. See you next year. Good times.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I just want to say Merry Christmas, but you spoke for both of us.
Yeah,
so I mean, as usual.
We're kind and generous on this show.
Yeah, that's us.
See you in a couple weeks, big fella. Appreciate you.
All right, see you guys.
Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast. Again, make sure you check them out on YouTube. Get searched up, get subscribed up, hit that bell, and let the boys know that you got their back. When we come back, Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hating Ass Mario from the BetQL Network, joins us, and I've been informed he has a little surprise for the great one. I'm intrigued to see what that's all about.
It's probably the haircut.
Think about
probably the haircut. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We'll see.
We'll see after Lonzo blows you away with his sports flash. I'm depressed now.
I probably will be here in a little bit. I'm sure it's fresh though, or whatever the kids say. Days after being cut.
The sounder first?
No.
Oh,
Days after being cut, former Chiefs run. Yeah, I probably should use. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. Well, I had the wrong one, so it doesn't matter. Days after being cut, former Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire has signed with the New Orleans Saints, although he was named to the practice squad. Current Saints starter Alvin Kamara's status this weekend at Green Bay is in question.